Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to another tutorial. It's me, IJ, and I'm back with a new tutorial. If today is your first time of stopping by my channel, you are on the right channel. My returning subscribers, you guys are amazing. Thanks for your support. Guys, as you can see on the thumbnail, I want to share with you guys how I DIY this beautiful, trendy bubu gown without a side seam. It has only front seam and back seam. It has a back seam because we are joining two materials together. Guys, you can make it long or you can make it short. The choice depends on you. You can equally make it with one color material. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let us dive into today's tutorial. Now guys, I have folded my material in two. Remember, we are using two different materials, so combination like you see on the thumbnail. So now I folded it in two, and while folding it, I folded it in diagonal form. I did not fold it straight. So what I mean by diagonal, remember, while folding our material, we normally fold it in two equal, but in folding this, I now folded it in this form, diagonal. Do you see it? To have more material on the upper side than the lower side. Remember, the beauty of this is the upper and the lower side. So that is the way to fold it. So now we are going to take our measurements. So before taking the measurements, we are going to rule a straight line from this side. Remember, because you folded it in diagonal, it's no more equal on the upper side. So now let us get our straight line. That is where we are going to insert our measurements. So this is our straight line now. This is our straight line. We have to insert our measurements. So here is our straight line. So remember, this is now going off. So this is our straight line. And the length we are working with, I'm going to work with length 60, including seam allowance. From the upper side, that is from the shoulder, I'm going to mark out my 60 inches. So let me measure out my 60 inches. Here is my 60 inches, including seam allowance. So I'm going to also do the same on the other side. Here is equally my 60 inches. Do you see it? So now we have gotten our length. We have gotten our length. So the next thing to do is to take our measurement from the center of our back to where we want our sleeve to be. For me, I want it to be around 29 inches, and I have 29 inches here, including seam allowance. Remember, it's not having side seam. It's going to have seam on the front and on the back because it is of two different material. Do you see it? So we are going to close the front. We are also going to close the back. So 29 inches from the center of my back to where it's going to be on my sleeve, including allowance. That is, it's going to be 28 inches plus one seam allowance to cover, to close the front and the back seam. There is no side seam. So now this is our 29 inches. We mark it here. So on this down part, remember, it is curved. So we are going to take how wide we want it to be. On this down part, I want the wide. I'll take my hip measurement and I'll add some inches to my hip measurement. So now my hip measurement is 10.5. Then I'll add extra 7.5, making it 18 inches. Do you see it? So that is where we are going to now use as our down opening. So now from this 29 inches on the upper side, I'm going to connect it to the 18 inches that we just covered from the downside. Remember, it's a lengthy one, so we are going to now connect it. Just connect it. Do you see it? Just connect it to the 18 inches on the down part, which I have done. This is our 18 inches. We have connected it. Do you see it? So the next thing now to do is to cut out our panel. Then we are going to now take our front neckline and our back neckline. So now let us cut it. Now guys, I have cut it out. Do you see it? I have cut it out. So this is our panel. I've cut it out from the 28 on the upper side, on the shoulder side, to 18 inches on the seam side. We now join it together with our straight line. Do you see it? So we have cut out our panel. This is our panel. Do you see it? Here is our panel. So that's the full panel. That's the down part of it. So the next thing to do now is to determine our neckline. Remember, there is no side seam. It has only front seam and back seam. So on this upper side is going to be the back seam, and on the front, the downside is going to be the front seam. So now let us take our neck opening. Remember, we left 1 inch as our seam allowance, so we are working after the 1 inch to take our neckline. So from this, after this 1 inch, this is where we are going, what we are going to use to close it up. Both this side, we are going to close this with 1 inch, and we are going to close this with 1 inch. So now let's take our measurement for the neckline. So this is our 1 inch to close it. So from here, I'll come in by 3 inches as my neck wide. These 3 inches. Then on the back side, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. Do you see it? So I'm going to mark it in this form. That's my neckline, 2 inches. Do you see it? And on the front side, I'm going to come down by 7 inches. That is here, 7 inches. Let's open it up. Remember, our 1 inch is here. So I'm going to open it up in this form. So from here, I'll come in by 3 inches. And the depth is going to be 7 inches. So from here now, it's going to be a V-neck line. So I'm just going to rule it in this form. So now let us cut it out. This is my front neckline, and here is my back neckline. Do you see it? So I'm going to take it now to the machine to use my 1 inch to close it up on the front and close it up on the back. Then I'll come back for us to now curve the down and also take the measurement of our sleeve. Now guys, I have joined, that is, I've closed the front and back seam. Do you see it? This is the front, the 7 inches neckline. I have closed it till down, and this is the back. I've also closed it. So now that we have closed it, remember, we close it is in this form. Do you see it? So we are now going to open it in this form. Do you see it? Do you see it now? We have opened it. So this is our back and this is our front. Do you see it? So we are going to match the shoulders together. This is our shoulder. Do you see our shoulder now? Here is our shoulder, and also this is the shoulder of the other side. Do you see it? Which we are going to use 1/2 inch to close up. Do you see our shoulder now? So this is our shoulder. So on this shoulder now, we are going to determine our armhole. That is the opening of our arm. We are going to determine it here. So now, first I'm going to pin it because of the material so that it's not going to be slippery. I'm going to pin it. So now guys, I've pinned it with my pin. Do you see it? So that we are going to work on the armhole. So from this side, do you see it? Or let me put it. So now guys, this is our back neckline, and this is our front neckline, and this is our shoulder. So now we are going to determine our opening. So from this side, from this down side, we are going to measure 7 inches. On this side, 7 inches. Do you see it? So from here we have measured 7 inches. I'm going to notch it. That's our 7 inches. So we are going to close with 1/2 inch. From this 7 inches, we are going to close to the shoulder. So, and on this other side, we are going to measure also 7 inches. I'll also notch it. So from here, we are going to also use 1/2 inch to close to our neckline. So now let us determine the curve on the front side. Remember, now this is our front side. We are going to take it back in this form to determine our curve on the front side. So now I'll place it. And remember, here is our midpoint. When you close it up in this form, when you close it up, when you fold it, this is our midpoint here. So let me just give it a little bit notch. So this is our midpoint. So now we open it up back. This is our front side. So we are going to measure how we want the opening to be. So from here, I'm going to measure 20 inches. Or you can measure 15 inches. Or let me put it to 18 inches. I'm going to measure 18 inches, including seam allowance. Remember, we are going to also fold the down of it. So I'm going to measure from the down, that is from the hem, I'm measuring 18 inches. And from this 18 inches, now I'm going to curve it to meet our midpoint. You can use your free hand or you can use your curve. Do you see it? So now this side is going to be tip. Do you see it? So I'm going to now cut this out. So guys, do you see it? So we have cut it out. So let us open it and see how it is going to be. So guys, do you see our front? So this is how the front is going to be. So do you see it? So now I'm going to take it to the machine to fold it. I'm going to use bias to fold it. So after that, I'm going to also fold the neckline with bias also and close up the shoulder. Then we will see the final look. Now guys, our bubu is ready. Do you see it? This is the front neckline and this is the back neckline. Do you see it? And I've now hemmed the down parts. Do you see it with bias? I have hemmed it with bias. Also this side and also the down part of it I've hemmed it with bias. So now guys, I also folded the sleeve. That is the opening. Do you see it? So the next thing to do now is to put it on the mannequin for us to see how our bubu looks like. This is our bubu. Do you see it? So lovely. And this is the opening. I will advise, if your length is so long like mine, just come up to 20 inches from the down to achieve this V that is going to be visible. Do you see it? When I put it on, I now realize that the inches, that is the 18 inches that we need, it is not all that visible. Then I came up by 22 inches to make it to be visible. Do you see it? If you like, you can also leave it in that form. But if you want it to be visible, when it is long, come up. But when it is shorter, don't go too up, except you like it in that form. So guys, our bubu is ready. So if you have not subscribed, consider subscribing. Support me to grow this channel. I love you and I will see you in my next video. For now, bye.